lake she had to drive over with the grittiest determination and complete trust in her truck and her abilities. And doing that took a toll on her. That's partly why she wasn't on set at all for season 6 of the show, despite being available for 3 seasons before that. Who could blame her though? The constant coverage of her very dangerous job and constant work proved to be very overwhelming for her. But instead of coming on the show and delivering a subpar performance like so many would have done, Lisa decided to take the year off to find herself.
Dinner, cooking.
Yeah, filming does take a lot out of you, and traveling and takes a lot out of you. And, me and my hubby sat down one day and we were like, I've seen you 9 days in 6 months.
That's why she came back for season 7. She was primed and ready to go. Sadly, we've not seen even close to enough of Lisa Kelly since she filmed her last season of Ice Road Truckers in 2017. It's almost like she just disappeared into thin air. But what happened to her? Where is she now? And is there even any chance that we might see her behind the wheel anytime soon? Let's find out. The rationale behind Ice Road Truckers is simple. Show the struggles that long-distance truckers go through when they drive over long distances in the dangerous winter conditions of North America. It was theoretically the opposite of most car shows, as it didn't focus on new cars, new designs, or fixing up a car. Instead, it focused on the struggles of the drivers of heavy-duty cars and the dangerous work that they do. And it is indeed really dangerous. For example, truck driving is statistically one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. However, the show itself isn't always about the threat of death and how truckers face it. Sometimes it can be about the mundane and the intimate, as the cameras not only follow the journey of the truckers, but their lives while resting on trips as well. When Lisa Kelly appeared on the show, she was certainly the odd one out. The show had existed for 2 seasons before she got on, and no woman had ever gotten on. So the viewers weren't too sure of what to expect from her. Would she be a top... Ooh, what's this thing? No.
At Iceland, pick up all your favourite ice lollies for just £1 each. Shop and save at iceland.co.uk.
Top dog, or would she be a maggot, which was the name given to newbie drivers? Lisa turned out to be just the top dog the show needed. However, since the last season of the show in 2017, the truckers on the show, including Lisa, have faded into some obscurity. But unlike other car shows, the drivers on the Ice Road Truckers didn't have a grand falling out. There was no drama between the drivers, there was no beef, and there was zero animosity.
Daryl, I'll go to the end of the world with you.
Thank you, Lisa.
We can't say for sure, but this might be because the drivers didn't have to work on the same set and had limited interactions with each other. Other car shows that focus on a crew working together certainly has that extra dynamic that encourages a lot of drama. The Ice Road Truckers simply didn't have that dynamic. Since the end of the last show, we've basically not heard anything about the drivers who starred in The Shore. To be frank, we don't know what's happening to them at all. However, we decided to follow Lisa's life to see what she's been up to. When Lisa drove in the Ice Road Truckers, she was part of Carlisle and operated primarily in Alaska. In a recent interview with Overdrive last year, Lisa, who's now 41, revealed that she no longer works for Carlisle and now works for another logistics supplier. Ordinarily, this would mean that Lisa now drives another route, but that's far from it. She still goes to the same Alaskan city, Kenai, to prove the route that she did so many times on the show. And the journey can be excruciatingly long. It's a 1,500 miles long route, and it often takes Lisa anything from 30 to 35 hours to complete a single journey. And yes, she completes these journeys all on her own, like most other truckers. There are some drivers, though, that have partners with them. These partners ensure that the trip is completed quickly and that the truck doesn't have to stop because one driver wants to sleep. Drivers on this journey usually have semi-comfortable cabins in their semis that allow them to have some shut-eye when they need to. During her interview, Lisa said that she still sees her former castmates. For example, she says that while on her route, she still sees Todd Dewey, a logger. She also says she runs into Jack Jesse and Phil Crom while working the road. The latter two both still work for Carlisle. In the interview, Lisa also had some comments about the nature of her job right now. She says that the snow now stays longer than usual, with certain lakes still frozen till April. This impacts how much work she can take, and possibly means she's earning more as a trucker now than she used to. However, it also means she's probably working in even more difficult conditions and is under...
Did you guys hear that? Talk about climate control, climate change. Just rewind it. Listen to this about the ice is there for longer. Yet they keep telling us about climate change.
For example, she says that while on her route, she still sees Todd Dewey, a logger. She also says she runs into Jack Jesse and Phil Crom while working the road. The latter two both still work for Carlisle. In the interview, Lisa also had some comments about the nature of her job right now. She says that the snow now stays longer than usual, with certain lakes still frozen till April. This
Climate change, eh? Don't believe everything you hear and read and see on the news.
impacts how much work she can take, and possibly means she's earning more as a trucker now than she used to. However, it also means she's probably working in even more difficult conditions and is under more stress than before. But Lisa says that the government is constantly making improvements on the road. For example, they've added tarmac and paving to some sections of the road, which means that it's now a little bit safer than it would have been otherwise. Lisa hasn't just changed her employer since the last season of the Ice Road Truckers, she's also changed the truck she drives. Right now she drives a Freightliner Coronado. The truck has the same engine as the Freightliner Cascadia, but it has even less bodywork to scrape the frozen ground, so it's the best for the harshest roads you can find. When Lisa drove on the show, she was pictured with and in several vehicles. However, the vehicles that she was frequently seen in were Kenworths. That wasn't surprising, given that Kenworths are the most popular Class 8 trucks for those driving the ice roads. Lisa has also had her life changed by her participation in Ice Road Truckers. For example, after the last season of the show, she found herself getting invited to several trucking exhibitions in the US and Canada. This has allowed her to connect with her social media followers and fans of the Ice Road Truckers. But that's not the only difference that the show made on Lisa's life. She's even managed to bag a lot of brand endorsements because of her association with the show. For example, she has been showcased on a variety of ads for Chevron's D-Lo. This has also given her the opportunity to tour North America while doing fan signs in events such as Diesel Fest and the Great American Truck Show. She's even set up her own eBay shop to sell merch that has her name on it. Amazingly, her merch sells out very fast, which goes to say that even though the Ice Road Truckers has not been on TV for a while, the show still has dedicated fans, and Lisa is certainly very popular with them. Outside work, Lisa spends her time in her native Alaska, taking care of her horses, riding her horses, and even practicing mounted archery. None of that is surprising at all, given the fact that her day job is even more dangerous than whatever she spends her spare time doing. Other changes that she's made with her life includes an interesting decision to adopt minimalism. Minimalism is a philosophical outlook on life that argued that less is more. It's not surprising to see Lisa adopt that outlook in her life, because those truckers don't have a lot to do during their long drives over hazardous roads. Perhaps she's trying to adopt an outlook that has helped her so well at work at home. Now that we know what has happened to Lisa since leaving the Ice Road Truckers, it's important to ask another important question. Will we ever see her on the road again? Will the Ice Road Truckers ever be coming back to grace our screens? Well, Lisa says that the show isn't really canceled, but is instead on a hiatus. And we kind of agree. There weren't any big legal or personnel issues with the show, and there's technically no reason why it cannot come back. However, we know that the world has changed dramatically over the last 5 years, and many show projects have been stalled because of the effects of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. The bottom line is that we don't know if we'll ever see the Ice Road Truckers again. Lisa seems keen on the idea, but it's not her decision to make.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. I'm a crazy drunk flight attendant, not a killer. What the?
Yeah, well, I've just done my dinner.
The Willow, real wood and built to last. Make a real difference to your home.
Go check my garden. I see a lot of activity in my pond a bit ago. Hopefully I might get little babies this year. Because I lost a lot of fish. A lot of fish last year. My prize fish. Go to